It's 4 p.m. and we're bringing you the developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is STORYCON. I'm Patrick Paez. Some stories we're watching this Thursday, September 19. Former Bamban Mayor Alice Go is now being questioned at the 6th hearing of the House Quad Committee. Sual Pangasinan Mayor Liseldo Calugay and Whirlwind Corporation Incorporator Cassandra Lee Ong were also present. Before discussing POGOs, lawmakers took turns questioning former Iloilo City Mayor Jed Mabilog. He recently returned to the Philippines from a self-imposed 7-year exile after being named in former President Rodrigo Duterte's narco list. Still on the House Quad Committee's investigation, Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte will be invited to the next hearing. In a letter, Duterte expressed intent to question resource persons. During the first Quadcom hearing, former customs official Jimmy Huban implicated Duterte in a 2018 drug smuggling incident, which Duterte denied. House Deputy Majority Leader Erwin Tulfo tops the OCTA Research Senatorial preference for the midterm elections. He was followed by his brother, Ben, with 57%. Also in the list are former Senators Tito Soto, Ping Lacson, Manny Pacquiao, and former President Rodrigo Duterte. Now joining us today, Amy Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star and STORYCON's resident political pundit, Ronald Llamas, and still not with us, Bok Edlingao.
Yeah.
On leave, officially. Gumagante, bumbabawi for my 3-week absence. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Patrick, Ronald.
Good
Okay,
afternoon,
Amy, what's the big story from the side of the Philippine Star?
Inaabangan pa rin namin what's happening doon kay Alice Go hearing, pero so far, nagdagan ko lang yung kay Jed Mabilog. Sabi niya, kaya daw siya, he went into exile because he was being forced to implicate Marojas and Frank Drilon sa drugs.
Oh.
Yan, mga dagdag lang natin yan. Siyempre, binabantayan pa rin natin. Gonna be rainy weekend pa rin because of the monsoon, no? Yan yung mga stories and titingnan natin kung anong
Did Mabilog...
kung saan papunta yung
nabanggit ba ni Mabilog kung sino ang nagpe-pressure sa kanya na i-implicate si former DILG Secretary Marojas?
Siyempre, yung nakaupo noon, sila. Related to former President Duterte, doon naman sa side ni, yun namang mga investigation kay Apollo Kibuloy, meron ding witness, na lumabas yung witness na nagsabi na nireregaluhan daw ni Pastor si former president ng babae, among others si former president and some other officials. Di ko lang alam kung sino pa yung ibang official na yan.
Medyo inamin naman ni ex-President Digong na pag may binibili o may kinukuha si Pastor Kibuloy, hati sila. Baka kasama yun sa hatian.
Pero babae ba pinag-uusapan nila na hatian doon
Well,
linawin mo, Ronald, di ba?
Hindi, sinasabi kasi niya, bahay, yan, kotse, etc.
So bakit doon sa other things? Parang yun ang sinasabi mo.
Nasa realm ng possibility yun. Dahil anak ng Diyos
Okay.
Saka baka yung mga ganyan istorya, baka hindi yan i-deny. Alam mo naman si
Digong,
former president ano yan macho yan macho nakakadagdag sa machismo yung ganyan mga istorya.
Diba, nung hindi pa siya presidente, sabi nga niya, dapat nauna siya. Doon sa ni-rape na missionary, di ba?
So Ronald, I mean to ask, you raised that matter, you raised that point about, hatian ng babae and all that, okay? Masama pakinggan, pero I wonder, as a political affairs advisor, to the former president, yourself, yung mga ganyang bagay na tungkol sa babae, hindi talaga, it doesn't matter to voters. It doesn't hurt a president.
Well, halimbawa kay Erap, naalala ko ng isang rally niya. Sabi niya, Erap, binabanatan nila ako na ang dami ko raw asawa. Sinisigurado ko na isa lang ang aking pinakasalan. Tapos sabay kindat. Diba?
So it helps.
Ang ginawa ni Erap, binaliktad niya. Pero hindi niya dinenay. Diba? Yun yung kanyang Dahil sa, halimbawa, yung mga botante niya noon, huwag mong kalimutan, landslide si ERAP noon, yung kanyang mga kasalanan ay nag-identify yung mga ibang mga DNE na parang naiinggit sila kay ERAP. Tapos si ERAP, ginamit yun doon sa kanyang ERAP jokes. Di ba? Self-deprecating, no? Ginamit niya yon. Imbis na maging negative para sa kanya, naging positibo.
So if you want to demolish somebody's political ambitions,
diba?
yung babae is not what you will use to demolish someone's political ambitions.
Siguro depende sa pagkakagamit eh. Halimbawa, ngayon kasi panahon ng political correctness ngayon eh. Dati hindi masyado eh. Ngayon ay issue na yung political correctness.
Is it an issue for the broad majority of Filipinos?
Sa masses.
Yun ang tanong ko eh.
Nagbago
Maybe doon sa mga mga small percentage of let's say educated and Western educated people. Pero kasi I meant to ask, if you watch the Senate hearings, mapapansin mo yung mga congressman, parang natutuwa sila at pag nandiyan si Cassandra nagte-testify. Halos medyo nagpapakyut. Nagpapakyut yung mga yung mga congressman.
Tsaka halimbawa, ilang columnist na nga binanatan yung mga statements ng homophobic statements ng mga kongresista. Pag nag-refer sila kay Harry Roque. No?
Iba yan. Iba yung homophobic, iba yung macho overtones.
Alos, medyo magkadikit yun.
Medyo ganun ba yun?
Medyo magkadikit yun.
Tsaka remember, Ronald, sabi ko, tinatanong ko may pagbabago ba sa kultura natin? Kasi even during the presidency of Duterte, lagi nagbibiro, di ba sabi niya, merong basenyo na walang mistress dyan, di ba? Tapos sa reaction ng mga tao, nagtatawanan
Tsaka,
ang reaction lagi ng audience sa mga sexist jokes na they always laugh.
They love it, okay?
Wala kang makita
And let's not
na,
forget, Ami, let's not forget that infamous or let's say famous or infamous scene where may hinalikan siyang lips to lips, or W during a foreign trip, right?
Actually,
In full view of the public. So,
kahit yung kanya mga biro kay Vice President Leni Robredo ron ay medyo
medyo sexist siya.
Hindi lang sexy, sexual harassment na yun eh.
Oo.
Pag sinabi niya na ang ganda-ganda ng legs mo tapos titingnan yung ganon. Pala yun.
pero it did not hurt. Let's remember, the president remained very popular despite all of that.
Parang exactly nga, yung sinasabi ni Amy na nung panahon ni Digong, para siyang erap. No, hindi niya tinatago yung kanyang mga philandering, yung kanyang mga asawa, yung mga kanyang mga girlfriend, no? At marami rin noon nung panahon niya habang siya ay presidente. Kaya nung lumabas itong kay Garma na nilabas ni TULFO, hindi na bigla yung mga tao.
Etong next guest natin, itong bago resource person natin. Baka may insight siya sa bagay na yan.
Tanungin natin.
But let's now bring in our OCTA Research President, Ranjit Rai. Okay, welcome back to the STORYCON, Professor Rai.
Hi, Professor.
Yes,
Hi,
okay.
everyone. Thank you for inviting
Kanina
me.
pa kami nagtatawagan yan. Hindi naman kami magkasagutan.
Okay,
No?
Prof.
Sobrang busy ni Sec Ronald Ano yun? Thank you for inviting me, and just to respond to Amy's earlier statement, I have no minutes. So, yan.
You have no...
I'm one of the many males who respect women.
Yan.
It's not
Okay.
culture for us to disrespect women. So, alam mo yun, maybe that's a big debate now. I agree. May patriarchy. And it's a continuing challenge.
From your vantage point, Professor, as a scientist and as a political analyst, nakakatulong ba yung machismo na yan sa mga kandidato?
It's become toxic na at some level. And because we have so many of our own, we have quite a number, not so many, but quite a number of our very good politicians, the few, who are apparently all women, no? A large percentage of them who are progressive are women also. We're getting schooled. A lot of our kababayans are getting schooled on how to behave and how to act, and also are being shown.
Okay, but Prof.
What's the alternative to that machismo? So to answer your question, it's still there, and especially when you look at our survey, puro macho yung 5, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good segue to our survey.
Yan nga sasabihin ko sa'yo, Professor,
Meron din,
na yung mga nasa
better
pangalan ninyo.
Prof, may mga nagpapanggap din na macho.
Ayun. See, if only to prove your
Well,
point, Ronald.
That's also an issue. Yeah,
If only to prove that point na kahit hindi ka macho, nagkukunwaring macho. Dahil yun ang ano, that's what connects with the voting population.
Wala naman
right?
ako naisip pahiwatig. Ayun na.
Wow, sana wala kang papahawatig sec kasi ano diyan, discriminatory rin yan.
Oo nga,
Yan.
oo nga. Wala ko
Hindi
naisip
na
pahiwatig.
politically correct.
Oo
Ano
nga,
yan?
oo nga, oo nga.
But Prof, the second best segue to our next topic is this. Bakit wala si Ronald Llamas doon sa Senatorial Preference Survey ng OCTA Research? Kasi yung kabilang
Actually,
survey
siya,
ko,
no?
nandun siya.
Wag mo na sagutin, Prof.
Actually, nandun siya. Pero of course, we chose na, alam mo yun, since we know na Sec Ronald is not going to run, in fact, a lot of names we've taken out because, you know, some people actually wrote us, please don't include our names. So we responded. And in fact, what the difference between now and the first quarter is we have a shorter list. And that has made the rankings a little tighter. And when you look at I don't know if you can still flash the list. No?
Okay, but Prof, one more. Pasingit mo na kasi may tanong
sure.
si Jovi Francisco kanina, a while ago. Curious lang siya, of all the names, bakit nandun ang pangalan ni
Mary.
Victor Neri?
Oh.
Okay, that's commissioned. Okay, so it was requested by...
Okay. Kasi ang akala lang ni
I don't even know who Victor Neri is, honestly. But
baka
anyway,
Neri Colmenares yun eh.
Artista yan.
Oo.
Artista yan, Prof. Artista.
Okay.
Pero Professor, siguro paki-explain sa amin, how do you pick nga the names? Kasi nagtataka din mga tao eh. Meron kami mga alam na nag-high profile na ngayon eh. Na alam namin na gustong tumakbo na wala dyan sa ano. At meron naman kami mga alam na siguro they will not want to be included na nandyan. Paano nyo ba pinipili? Just to inform the public.
Okay, well, this is largely a product of suggestions from subscribers who commission names. Okay, and then I think the top 10 or top 15 are listed by OCTA based on its information sa people who are going to run. We've kept a list more or less since last year, no? And of course, the list has been changing in number because some people have decided, told us, and also from the news that we're not running, no? For example, Senator Trillanes, he's not part of this particular survey because he's time and again he's going to run for,
Mayor.
GU, no?
Okay.
Mayor for
Yes.
Caloocan.
Prof,
So
Prof.
that's how we come up with the list.
Prof,
But
well,
this
yeah.
list we came down because a lot of people actually have approached us saying, you don't take us off the list because we're not running.
Okay, Prof, huwag na natin bitinin yung mga nanonood sa atin. Ano? Number 1 and number 2, hindi nagbabago. Okay? Erwin Tulfo at number 1. Number 2 is the brother Ben Tulfo. But there's just 3 points separating them. And in the ranking,
They're practically tied.
Yeah, statistical tie.
Dati kasi malaki yung agwat eh.
So,
Dati malaki yung agwat ni Erwin sa ni Ben.
humabol yung kapatid, Prof?
Well, I think at this point, it's hard to speculate. It's likely that they're getting votes from each other.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
Erwin, he started at mid-70s and now, it's gone down, fast because, his brother has come in. But, both of them are winnable candidates. It seems that this is the third quarter and, they've kept their... people should not look at the ranks. They should look at the percentage, no? While Erwin's numbers are trending a little, trending down, they're still formidable at 60%. Then you have Ben Tulfo standing up at 57%. But you also notice that Tito Soto is, very compared at 50. Bongo is at 49%. So the top 5 the first 5 of the list are tight. And
But Prof, the interesting narrative kasi here, Prof, is really the two brothers. It's the Tulfo brand again. We're going to discuss this thing again, the Tulfo brand. But more interesting here now is that Ben seems to be eating into his brother's ranking, and not just eating, parang closing in. Okay? And in all likelihood, I mean, we get it from sources that these two brothers, Erwin and Ben, won't be running in the same senatorial slate.
You're sure about that already?
So,
Almost.
may nagkwento.
Almost. No.
So,
Kasi, yun nga,
you
as I
know,
told you last time, di ba? It's the advantage of having the two TULFOs in one ticket, or at least supporting each other on a particular side. You know naman, there are only two sides apparently that's emerging, no? That they'll not just help themselves, but in terms of the votes, no? But they're also going to bring, help buoy up the other. Magbibit-bit na mga kandidato sa slate to eh. Etong ganun kalakas yung brand nila eh. And
Right.
1 and 2, it seems that we don't know in the future they could go down. We also saw what happened last 2022 with Senator Raffy Tulfo. His numbers, his actual placement was different.
Right.
No, when the voting stopped, ended, he was third,
Number two.
fourth,
Number two.
Number three.
Number three, yeah, something like that. Nataasan pa siya ni Senator Legarda, I think.
Loren.
Mukhang si Ben Tulfo will be running as an independent. While si Erwin ay halos sigurado na nakasama sa administration.
But one likely scenario is that he will be running as an independent, but probably one group might adopt him. Kasi nagiging kalakaran sa right? Sa mga senatorial elections ngayon, nag-adapt sila ng mga kandidato.
Dahil yung isang grupo, maraming bakante at yung administration ay halos puno. So mahirap mag-adapt yung administration.
The other ticket might adopt.
Yeah.
And we can imagine that somebody like Ben Tulfo, no candidate would reject a support from any group, right?
Addition yun eh.
Addition pa rin yan.
Ang tanong ko lang, Professor, ang medyo dramatic kasi dyan ay si ex-President Digong.
Yeah.
No? Nasa dulo,
That's the interesting.
Nasa dulo siya ngayon.
Piece, no?
Tapos yung
not the Tulfos.
Yeah.
Not the Tulfos. I mean, they're steady state eh. That interesting item here is Amy Marcos, Senator Marcos, and President Duterte. They went down in our survey.
Bakit, Prof? Bakit nga, Prof, na yung creation ni Digong, si Bongo, ay number 3, tapos si Digong na nag-create sa kanya ay nasa bandang dulo na. At may possibility kung ganyan ang trend ay mawala sa 12. Anong paliwanag niya?
We're not sure if the former president is going to run, no?
Yes.
That's the truth, no? And another interesting story is Dr. Willie Ong finally, made it above the line. But it's unfortunate. We're praying that he recovers.
Yes.
No? It's unlikely that these two people are going to run in the next election. So this if that's the case, this is not the list will go up. Some people are going to go up.
Yes.
No? Mag-adjust yung list, no.
Yes.
And then the current survey shows it's very tight when it comes to 12 to 20. There's a very strong chance for Kiko Pangilinan to win. Very strong chance for Drilon to come in, get in. There's a very strong chance for even Camille Villar. This is a big story here, yung Camille Villar, because while it was commissioned, much of the work monitoring her numbers was commissioned. She started at 3% in the first quarter as far as OCTA is concerned. Now she's at 17. We've never seen that kind of increase in just less than 2 quarters.
How would you explain that big
Pero
jump?
apelido yan hindi ba?
How would you explain that big jump, Prof?
Yun nga itatanong ko, Prof, dahil more than 14 points yung kanyang itinaas. Paano ba nangyayari yan? Usually, very rare na may ganyang klaseng sitwasyon. Yung
Actually,
talon.
rare. In our case, it's kind of rare. We've seen double-digit declines, but not double-digit increases.
Yes.
So there must be. She must spot. I mean, it doesn't look impressive here, no? When you look at it, she's in the top 20. She's not breaking in the top 12. But if the trend continues, she's probably going to break in next quarter, no? Kasi I mean, if you double-digit increases per quarter, it's just,
Ako, Mechorya ako, Professor. Mechorya ako kasi binabantayan ko yung mga yan eh. They are actually maintaining a high profile nationwide. Si Bongo is all over the place.
Yeah.
You travel outside Manila, nandun ang mga poster niya ha. All over. Apart from that, yung malasakit niya, punta siya ng punta, nakikipag it's also the brand of the TULFOs, no? Tumutulong sa masa. And sila, Villar, that's the Villar name, ganyan din sila eh. Nag-high profile din sila in different projects, a lot of sectors. Ganun yung nakikita ko. Which brings me to my question. Ang tatanong ko sa inyo, what do you think is fueling the numbers for the top 12? Ano yun? Although yun na nga, yung nakikita ko na high profile na tumutulong sa masa. Yun lang ang nakikita ko na commonality nila.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you 100%. You know, this public service, you know, there's dynasties, no? But there's also, of course, that notion, no? I mean, that impression that those on the top are also those that are actively involved in, you know, real public service.
Yes.
No? Or active in, you know, programs, at least in the Senate, that are high profile, aware. Kasi you can't also explain Francis Tolentino. He's, in our survey, he's high.
Or Ping
You only
Lacson,
achieve that way.
Professor.
High profile din yan. Professor, high profile yan. He goes all around also.
Pero
Yes.
Prof, si Ping Lacson kasi halos lahat ng survey firms, pasok naman talaga siya. Si Francis Tolentino,
He's going up, ha? Lacson has been going up.
Yes.
He's trending up in OCTA, first, second, and
Si Francis,
Si Ping
si Francis ang hindi masyado sa ibang surveys. No?
Yeah,
Sa ibang
that's true.
medyo mababa si Francis. Kaya dito,
Yeah.
medyo dramatic yung kanyang pagtaas. No?
Yeah.
Tinitingnan ko rin
That's,
kasi yung ibang surveys eh.
yeah. Sa amin kasi, medyo steady yung numbers ni Senator Tolentino. Ang talagang dramatic sa amin ang pagtaas, ito si Camille Villar, double digit. This person, Wilbert Lee, I don't know him, but you know, he apparently,
Sino ba yun?
he's doing well in our surveys. And you know,
Prof,
so
sino si
Pangilinan-
Wilbert
Wilbert Lee?
Lee? Who is Wilbert Lee?
Who is...
Party list yan
No,
eh.
I'm sorry to ask, pero sino ba?
Is it-
Kasi kayo yung nag-survey eh.
Yeah, but
Sino
I
siya?
think he's a congressman,
Party
according
list.
to our...
Party list yan.
Does his jump have anything to do with his nickname, Wilbert Manoy Lee?
Oh.
Kasi kasama
How
sa
you define Manoy, no?
sa listahan eh, di ba?
But anyway, what I want to emphasize, I'll just skip that, though, but what I want to emphasize, Pangilinan, Bamakino did very well this quarter. Drilon is doing very well, it's stable numbers. And these are good numbers to base a national campaign if they decide.
Si Drilon mukhang hindi. Hindi natatakbo si Frank yan.
Hindi natatakbo. Okay.
Mukhang
yeah,
retired.
you've
So
all-
if you take him out, people are going to go up, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
that's but anyway, I just want to remind everyone, this is August 28 to September to 1,200.
Malapit na filing. Prof, bakit yung progressive block? High
It's
profile
phase
sila,
two.
mukhang hindi
Hindi na,
mukhang hindi
that's
nag-improve masyado, no?
Yeah, but
What
you can go to
might
phase
be the
two.
factor?
Yeah, I think the most popular candidate is Nery Colmenares, former congressman.
Yes.
And it's remained that way.
Yes.
Nakaapat na
Bakit kaya?
nakaapat na takbo na yan.
Marcoleta about the same then. Yeah.
Nakaapat na takbo na yata.
Franz Castro is around 2%. Yeah.
Si Neri.
Di ba tatlo
Bakit
lang
kaya
dapat?
static for progressive? Being a professor of political science, bakit kaya? Ano nakikita nyo? Medyo static yung kanilang eh.
Yeah, you know, think about it. In the first quarter, we are in OCTA is about 3%. It's really about
Yeah.
awareness. And they have to, I don't know if they can spend that as much as Camille Villar, but the thing is, there has to be find a way to increase awareness about who they are, what they stand for, their programs. They're compelling candidates naman. Franz Castro is somebody
Yes.
who would be a senator and should be, in my view, or Nery Colmenares. But the thing is, not too many people know them. When you look at their awareness, it's below 50%, you know. But then again, you have this example of Congresswoman Villar, no? She was relatively unknown.
Villar nga. Villar yan.
Yeah, I know, but nobody,
Villar yung apelido
initially,
niyan.
nobody knew her, no? At least from our own data. But now everybody is gaining a lot of momentum. And I guess that's where the left can work on finding a way to get themselves more people aware of them.
Professor, I read somewhere that, by nature, societies are conservative. Would that be a reason why, for example, progressive candidates don't do as well? Ang default ng society and the voting population is usually conservative.
But you have Risa Ontiveros, eh. I mean, she's an example, di ba? I mean, she's broken that glass ceiling. She's a progressive. And she's turned out to be a very, very effective senator. Alam mo, we need more of the progressives to come out, no? I don't know if that is a particularly accurate theory or way or approach to depicting Philippine society. But there's, when you look at our political preference survey, a big chunk are independents, eh. And we're going to release that data soon, no? we're just trying to find out if useful yung question na who are the independents looking at, no? And it seems like it's not very significant yung nakuha namin mga findings. But one thing's for sure, they're not aligned with the Dutertes, they're not aligned with the Marcoses, not choosing these people. And they're open to voting for a black swan, a new candidate, no? And so I think we need more Rizzo Ontiveros, more people like Rizzo to run, no? And I feel that the left should continue to try. They have the organization. I don't know if they have the resources, but they certainly have the program, the platform, and the compelling candidates. I guess they just need to make themselves more aware, make the public more aware of who they are and what they stand for.
On another topic, Prof, meron din ba kayong ginawang survey para dun sa presidential preference? Dahil nabanggit nyo last time na nandito kayo sa STORYCON na ilalabas nyo this month yung
I know.
presidential preference.
It's a big debate within OCTA whether to release it or not, given the environment. So we're still debating. Don't worry. Once we've resolved it, we'll give you the actual numbers.
Okay, ganito na lang.
Give you an impression of how it will come out.
Actually, pwede nyo i-leak tapos i-deny nyo naman public leak.
Or ganito na lang, Prof. Can you give us some insights?
That would be a first for OCTA. We don't leak it. We just
Without naming names, without revealing the names of Professor, can you give us some insights on how it's shaping up? At least in this point in time.
For certain candidates, I think there's a very strong preference. If you're asking me about Sara Duterte, she's completely relevant. She's still a very strong candidate. She's still being considered as the best to succeed the president. But then again, you have a person like Rafi Tulfo, who's Senator Rafi Tulfo, whose brand is evolving, is likely to become more popular given the fact that his two brothers are running. The timing of the Tulfos is also important. They're snowballing into a competitive, it's almost like a small political party. You have three people in the Senate, So
there are two brands now. There are two competing brands right now, the Tulfos and the Dutertes. And if we can infer from the senatorial survey, we're seeing how low the Dutertes are performing in the senatorial preference, and at the same time, the top two posts are being occupied by Tulfos. No, so how does this translate to what you would say a presidential survey? What you're looking at, what you're seeing from presidential surveys?
You can't derive it from it. First of all, these are just snapshots of a particular period. And number two, the assumption that the Dutertes are irrelevant is actually wrong. If you take out Digong Duterte, these numbers will change. It will consolidate under one Duterte. The same way it happened with Mayor Abby Binay. Her numbers actually improved, in our surveys. When you take out Jejomar Binay, it will all consolidate under Binay. It's likely going to consolidate under my safe guess would be Baste Duterte if he runs. It would be a compelling candidate. And by the way, at 22%, it's extremely competitive. You need 28 to 30% to get into the Magic 12 as far as Dr. David's estimates are concerned.
But at the same time, Prof, we're not seeing the same cannibalization when it applies to the two Tulfos, Erwin and Ben. There seems to be a lot to go around between them that enough to land them both at the top spot.
At saka, Prof, ang kaibahan kasi sa election na ito ay medyo masikip Halimbawa, yung pasok sa 12, hindi ganun kadaling matanggal No? Ibig sabihin, kailangan...
You're right there. And you can look at the numbers, dikit-dikit So masikip na and it will matter if you're with the administration. It will matter if you have machinery. It will matter if you have all those resources. Yes. Kasi now you have a good name, you're already a good product, and an established brand. But you'll notice it's really tight, and it's going to be a very competitive elections. My only call is for the everyday voter not to listen to surveys, but to listen to program.
Ayan. Nanggaling yun sa'yo, Professor.
After everything that was said,
It's a snapshot. They shouldn't be the end-all and be-all for deciding who will you support. And so
now, Professor, I'm going to, ang question ko, have you received expressions of concern na these surveys are contributing to mind conditioning.
Oh my God, we have
Di ba? Nagiging self-fulfilling.
we have
Baka
100
maging
comments in
self-fulfilling.
our Facebook, our IGs. No?
Yes.
That,
You get a lot.
yeah, you get a lot.
Anong sinasabi nyo?
Yeah, but you know, one thing's for sure, we're just messengers. So we don't shoot the messenger. This is the message from our kababayans. No? This is what our kababayans are seeing, are preferring at this particular time. And surveys the particular value because their feedback and in a country where self-reflection is needed for us to move forward, surveys help that help in trying to find out who we are, what we want, what we prefer, and that's what OCTA is trying to do, no? Provide people insight into what everyone else is thinking about on a range of issues, because this is not the only thing that we generate. This is not the only information we generate. And so what we want to emphasize is that, you know, the everyday voter must use this just as a guidepost, but it shouldn't be the determinant for people's vote and people's support. We encourage people first to register, second to study, no, the platform, the program, the persona behind these names, no. Kaya importante yung voter education, and OCTA's big on that, and we're going to launch programs towards that. As well as try to understand why surveys are still important and still relevant.
Okay,
Nabanggit nyo, Prof, kanina na very significant pa rin yung si Sara and the Dutertes. Very significant yung TULFO as an emerging political force, no? Sabi nyo nga, parang silang isang partido na rin, no? Ang tanong ko kasi, Professor, ay less about absolute numbers, Talaga namang significant pa rin ng mga Duterte, especially Sara. Ang tanong ko ay, is the movement of numbers. Is it moving up? Okay. Is it moving down? Yun yung mas mahalaga Dahil absolute numbers change.
Yeah. The trend for the Duterte is going down as far as our OCTA surveys are concerned. As far as the senatorial survey is concerned, even with the numbers for the political preference survey. So, yun lang. It is but we don't know if it will bounce back, no?
Salamat po. Hindi na kinakailangan yung sinabi ko kanina na kailangan may leak. Hindi na kinakailangan.
Professor, if you go, still on this presidential snapshots that you've been doing, is there anybody else in the horizon aside from a Duterte or a TULFO? Is there anybody else in the horizon for 2028? Sorry,
it's fairly open. Yeah. It's a long time from now, and based on commissioned work we have, there are quite a number of names that are out there.
Professor, sino yung pinakamalapit? Administration candidate. Babanggitin ko na, si Speaker Romualdez lang naman yung isa pang ina-advance ng, we think that na pinopromote ng administrasyon. Ano yung standing ni Speaker?
We don't have data on that at the moment, no, for Speaker Paez. But what we do have is data with Amy Marcos, no, and Amy Marcos's data is still quite good. You know, she's still a relevant player, no, in our political life, and there's still quite a number of people who prefer her. And while her numbers are going up and down in OCTA, she remains in the top 12. And you know, if you're asking for another candidate, that's one. We're trying to track next quarter numbers of people, notably Senator Risa Ontiveros, alam mo yun. So to see, you know, apart from the TULFOs, who could be, no. But then again, 2028 is a long time from now. And there will be emerging candidates, no, I'm sure.
Okay.
That will come out and who people will support.
Okay,
good.
Yes, yung sabi nga ni Professor, this time kasi medyo mahaba pa yung runway. No? Yung last election kasi maraming nagpasya nung maiksi yung runway. So yung possibilities ngayon ay mas malaki kumpara nung last election.
Yeah, but the season has arrived much earlier this time around, no?
Yes.
I understand, year one pa lang pinag-uusapan na, Professor, no?
Nagdudurugan na. No?
Right.
And so we expect that these numbers and these rankings will change. And just because they're 1 and 2, the TULFOs may not be that next year, you know? So things the situation is dynamic and you know, and at the same time polarizing, no, the politics that we have at the moment. So we expect that these numbers and these names will change also over time.
Okay, Professor, how would you explain this, that Amy Marcos, you mentioned that she's more or less in the horizon as far as 2028 is concerned, but at the same time, when you look at the senatorial preference, she's not exactly
On the top.
performing
Yeah.
as well as the others. So how should we look at that as a disconnect, or people are able to separate 2028, for example, from midterms?
No, the question was, are there any other names, diba?
Yeah. Right.
that we have seen in our OCTA probes, no, the
For
commission
president.
one.
For president.
Yeah, and she is her name comes out, no, and so that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There are alternatives, and there are quite a number of alternatives also. And we'll try to come out with our own who will best succeed the President Marcos. So we're fixing up that probe.
When you
and
say-
we'll release to you guys, and then there's a plethora of names there. Now the numbers, of course, backing those names are different, no, and there's sometimes are small, but there are alternatives, obviously, to the dominant names. Like the dominant names would be, of course, VP Sara Duterte and of course Senator Raffy Tulfo.
Usually, Prof, kasi pag ikaw ay nasa administration, meron kang kaunting bump eh. 10-15% na dagdag sa'yo. So, yung mga wala sa administration, pag sila ay nandyan sa last 4, delikado. Pag ikaw naman nasa administration, kahit ikaw ay nasa number 13 to 15, 16, may chance ka namang makapasok. So, malaking variable yung pagiging nasa administration ka during the midterm. Iba kasi yung last election eh. Halimbawa sa 2010. Pero sa midterm, napaka-powerful nung administration.
Administration machinery. Yeah,
Yes,
I
dagdag yan.
agree with you, Secretary Llamas. Mukhang, kaya ka, you can't count out Camille Villar. She looks, far away from the horizon, no, at where she is now, but at 17 to 26. But, given the bump that the administration will also provide, you can expect that she'll be competitive, no?
How about-
Including Abigail Binay. I don't know if if Mayor Binay is part of the administration ticket, but she'll probably get a bump also. So,
How about Abalos? Dahil before, lahat ng survey, ang layo niya. Ngayon ay nasa within shooting distance siya ngayon. So, anong factor ang nakatulong sa kanya? Si Alice Go
Si
ba?
Alice Go.
But no, that was not covered.
Magaling
eh.
yun.
Period, oh. But
Joke
I
lang,
think-
joke lang.
Okay, we'll try to measure that next round. No? If it's going to be negative or positive. But the thing is, I think it's really the work of Secretary Abalos. I think he's been on TV. There are ads coming out.
It's Black
I don't
Rider.
Nothing.
Teleserye sa GMA.
But there's an obvious attempt, no, to make himself be more aware as far as the voters are concerned.
So,
maybe-
Secretary Abalos making it to the top 12 was before this whole Alice Go incident, right?
Yeah.
And before.
So, we should see some bump up, Prof, in the next survey round. We don't know.
I don't know, actually. It's possible, but, he also took a unfortunate picture with her, and that's, alam mo yun,
The selfie.
That's gone around we don't know. We don't know. I have no idea. I can't speculate, but what we do know is that his numbers improved. So did the numbers of Doc Willie Ong. And that the top 20 is really competitive. Dikit yung numbers. And if the experience of Camille Villar, the example of Camille Villar is to be utilized, no, with machinery and resources, you can make yourself be more aware, no, or make people more aware of who you are and what you stand for, and really go up the ranks like the way she did, double-digit increases.
Okay, going back to the presidential snapshot, Professor, when you say that the names Amy Marcos and Risa Ontiveros somehow figure in the picture, is this from the public sentiment, or from political circles that you're hearing these things?
No. We'll come out with our own probe. I'm sorry, I can't really release it now because Professor David hasn't done it yet. But I've seen the names, and we'll come out with who will best succeed President Marcos. It's a different probe. We'll come out with that press release soon. don't worry, that's not very controversial. And
Okay.
we have, I think, an aided and unaided probe. We'll try to release all of that for the benefit of the public and to answer your query soon. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other question, Ronald, Amy?
it's okay. Yeah.
Okay na.
Di na
Thank you for
di na kinakailangan ng
inviting
leak.
us. Thank
Di na
you.
kinakailangan ng leak.
Oo nga, yeah, it's more or less there. No?
Eh, kung yung pangalan mo. Paano,
Yeah,
paano yung pangalan mo?
Thank you for inviting us and giving us the opportunity to share our data. Salamat sa inyo.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you po.
Okay. That was Professor Ranjit Rai, President of OCTA Research Group. Okay. Still, it hasn't changed. Erwin, number 1, Ben, number 2.
Mas yung sa dulo nagbago.
Oo.
No? At
Doon
saka-
talaga yung galawan, ano?
Oo.
Laglagan, singitan.
Usually yung last 6 ang vulnerable, tapos yung labas na 4, no, nagbabago yan.
What's surprising for me, Ronald, is that former Senator Panfilo Lacson, up there,
Yeah.
comfortably. Okay? And he's not exactly known as the ayuda guy. Di ba?
Yes.
Hindi
siya nagbibigay
siya
ng mga-
mapolitiko eh.
Oh, hindi
Di ba?
epal, hindi epal.
Hindi siya ma-epal, no? If there's somebody who is, just wants to do his work well,
Yeah.
and as the law would have it, it's Senator Ping Lacson. So how would you attribute Senator Ping Lacson's position, comfortable position in the winning 12?
Well, like Miriam, meron na siyang support base for the Senate. Ibang usapin niya kung tatakbo siya for a higher position. Pero for the Senate, parang meron na siyang command base at merong influence base na magre-rely siya kahit wala siyang partido. Halimbawa, wala naman siyang partido. No? Usually independent siya. Kaya yun yung kanyang stature, yung kanyang integrity, yung kanyang track record, no, ay may kanyan. Meron ng solid na base. Kaya hindi masyado nagbabago. Halos lahat ng survey, hindi ko nakita na labas siya sa 12. No, lahat ng survey pasok siya. Yung iba nga rito nasa labas sa iba na survey, no? Nagbabago. Pero si Senator Ping Lacson parang steady in all the surveys.
Okay. I'm looking at the list, winning 12, it's a mixed bag. Right, Ami? Medyo halo-halo, no? May mga, nandiyan yung mga TULFO, may artista like
Ronald,
Pero yung
Lito
Ronald,
Lapid.
yung Keping, hindi
pero
ba,
yung opposition palabas.
Parang,
Yung opposition.
Ronald, hindi ba yung Keping it's a reflection, matagal na to sa natin mga botante natin. They like those types yung mga dirty Harry types na yan. Malakas
Could it be
lagi.
that?
In fact, that was the appeal of Digong
Pero
strong
matagal-
government,
Yes.
strong sa law and order. Meron tayong ganyang botante na malakas. In fact, yung mga TULFO, that's one of their strengths.
Okay.
Yes.
Yung
Pero-
image ng pamilya.
Pero,
Yun ang
Ami-
brand, kasama din sa brand nila.
Pero,
Apart from the ayuda, no?
Pero yung
Apart from the ayuda, yan yung swift action on, yan na nga, yung mga problema sa peace and order. Meron tayong ganyang
Right.
sa voters also.
Yes, pero medyo matagal na yung Dirty Harry image ni Ping. Yung image niya this past 2 decades, mas as a fiscalizer. 'Di ba? Siya yung
Corruption.
Siya yung anti-corruption,
Sa budget.
Anti-corruption.
Masinsin sa budget.
anti-pork barrel, 'di ba? Wala siyang kinukuhang
So
pork barrel.
it's also an issue, di ba? For
Yes.
So maganda din yan na you are harping on corruption at nagre-resonate sa mga botante. Pero bakit yung mga progresibo natin, yan naman yung kanilang
Weakness.
emphasis din.
Pero hindi pa
Bakit hindi sila
Pero hindi pa kasi sila naging senador No, hindi pa sila halimbawa, yung pinakamalapit diyan, halimbawa si Neri, mga 4-5 million votes. No? Medyo malayo-layo pa. That's just 1/3 sa winning votes na kinakailangan. No? Kaya siguro yung pagiging leftist ay nakabawas dahil napakalawak ng ating anti-communism history at saka yung ating anti-leftist narrative. So, yan ay nakabawas dun sa mga progressives. No? Pero sabi nga ni Professor Ranjit, naiiba si Risa. Ano kahit siya ay openly leftist, openly socialist, hindi siya masyadong parang threatening sa status quo. Hindi siya involved hindi siya na-identify sa kahit anong armed struggle. So,
Hindi siya nare-red tag.
Hindi siya. Nare-red tag naman siya, pero dumudulas.
Dumudulas.
Dahil mahirap mo naman tawaging NPA si Risa. Mahirap mo naman tawaging komunista si Risa. Di ba? Yun yung sa narrative niya ay hindi dumikit. Hindi dumikit.
Okay, but to,
So you're saying negative dito sa atin, yung ma-red flag ka.
Yes,
When it comes to,
damaging
ano?
pa rin yun. No? Pero nakatulong din kay Risa na twice siyang natalo. Ibig sabihin, hindi na issue sa kanya yung name recall. No? Dahil dalawang beses siya natalo, nagmarka na siya. At nung tumakbo siya twice after niyan, panalo na siya. No? At hanggang
Hindi ni
ngayon,
Sara Duterte dahil sa kanya yon.
Okay, but
Dahil sa kanya, kaya nanalo.
yes.
to Ami's point, if I attempt or try to make, to cluster this winning 12 into some categories, into boxes, to Ami's point, Ami, yes, two qualities, mga pumasok na pangalan. Ayuda, yung mga mahilig magbigay, at saka yung mga medyo matitigas yung dating. How else to explain bakit pumasok, for example, si Benhar Abalos? I mean, let's remember, him
He's
coming
an
in this
older
winning
yan
12 predated Alice Go, the arrest of Alice Go. But, I think pasok na dito yung cameo appearance siya dun sa action teleserye ng GMA7 na Black Rider.
Pero
may mga ganun
Pero-
and then you still have Lito Lapid,
Yeah.
si Panginoon.
Si Bato.
Oo, si Panginoon, di ba? Panginoon dun sa teleserye ni action series ni Coco Martina, Batang Quiapo I think the first one.
Pero ang gusto ko rin tignan, Patrick, ay yung pagkumpara sa iba't ibang mga surveys. Na paano isang survey yung OCTA, gusto ko rin makita sa iba dahil minsan dramatic yung difference. No? Yung iba ay pwedeng 6 dyan o 8 dyan ay nakapasok na rin sa ibang mga survey. Pero meron ka dyang 4 na hindi nasa labas Kaya titignan mo yan. No? Halimbawa, si Abalos, ito yung first survey na nandun siya sa malapit-lapit sa 12. No? In all surveys...
But he's coming from the outside.
Yes.
So this is an improvement.
Yes, sa OCTA.
Oho.
Kaya nga sinasabi ko, gusto ko pang makita sa
Yung iba.
SWS,
Okay.
sa Pulse, sa Lilo, etc. No?
Parang dalawang trope lang meron yung mga nananalo at pumapasok sa top 12 Yung mga tumutulong at saka yung mga idol, yung mga astig yung dating. And I
Yes.
find it very likely na those are the two tropes that appeal to the voting public, to the Filipino
Pero
voters.
tignan
Kasi
din,
si Erap
Idol
ganun
at saka
din
yung mga,
Asyong
yung
Salonga
mga
yun
may malasakit o tumutulong.
Yes, pero tignan din natin, halimbawa dito, yung inuulit ko yung movement of numbers. Halimbawa, pasok si Bato at si Digong sa 12, pero yung movement nila is dramatic pababa.
Right.
Diba? So,
Pero
yun ang
they're
titignan
not
mo,
being replaced by people who, they're not being replaced by the progressive
Si Ben Hur
or the
ang
classic
pumasok.
opposition who talk policy and all that.
Well,
no?
ang dumidikit si Kiko. Yung sabi nga ni Professor.
Malayo.
Oo, sabi
Malayo
niya.
pa rin.
Hindi, pero saan siya nanggaling? No? Kaya sinasabi ko movement Parang si Camille. Si Camille malayo pa rin Pero yung movement ng numbers
yun
niya, palapit, no? Pataas. Kaya yun yung aking gustong tignan. Sa bagay, sabi nga, 8 buwan pa. Pero yun yung titignan mo yung movement nitong number. Tingin ko,
Okay.
3 surveys na bumababa si Digong. 3
Okay.
surveys na. Ibig sabihin, kung magpapatuloy yan next survey, ibig sabihin, may tama talaga yung Duterte brand. May tama. No.
Okay. Let's go on a break first. We will be right back. Thank you for joining the STORYCON today. Amy Pamintuan. Break na oras na pala. Thank you for joining the STORYCON today. Amy Pamintuan, editor of the Philippine Star, and Ronald Llamas, a resident political pundit. Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the STORYCON. I'm Patrick Paez. We are One News, all sides, all the time. This is the Story Conference Group or the STORYCON Group.